For this video, we're going to be working on the stained glass project using oil pastels on the piece of paper that already has a design drawn in Sharpie. We'll be adding color to all the different areas and filling it in. Once we've finished that part, we will actually go back and cover the whole page with black acrylic paint. Once that's dried, we'll be going back and using different types of lines to scratch in more of a design on top of the colored areas. As you begin coloring in areas, you can fill in with the oil pastels and blending using more than one color. You don't want any of the white area to be left where it can be seen. What I'm going to do here with this is I'm going to go in with a yellow orange and that yellow and create a blending of the colors. If you want to blend further, you can go back and even use like a white pastel to blend things in. The one thing you want to be careful of, and you can see happening here, this pastel had some blue on it, and that's the one thing with pastels. They're great to blend with, however they pick up color and you might need to clean off colors as you switch them up and use them. But you can see I've got that filled in now. I can go back, add a little bit more of this yellow orange if I like. We want to try to keep it off of the black Sharpie areas if we can, because that's going to kind of help us see our design when we go back to scratch areas. You can use these and just fill in solid, but as I said, you want to make sure that you don't have any of the white paper where the oil pastel is, because when you put the black acrylic paint on top of that, it is going to fill that in. It'll just fill it in black. You can kind of see where I'm going in and taking light blue and blending with that darker blue to give it a texture. And there's no need to be in a hurry when you're doing this. You know, taking your time. Enjoy letting those colors blend together. That's one thing I like about oil pastels. You can take colors and really blend and get nice variety with your colors that you have. Now if you wanted an area to be white, you would need to color it in with a white pastel. I think I'm going to have a couple of areas that I'm going to have white. And it's literally, you're just coloring it in the way you want. You just want to make sure things are solid. That's a key there. So now I think I'm going to go with some purple up here. And maybe some purple here. And it's okay to turn your paper and work in whatever, area you need to, where you can get to it better. It doesn't have to stay directly upright. Doesn't have to. You can move things around always to make it easier for you. Kind of doing this purple area. And you can see, even where I'm putting the purple down, I am leaving it where there are some white areas. I'll go back with that here in a moment and blend. And I am doing a smaller version of what we're going to be doing during the workshop, just for time on the video, so it's not taking as long. And I am going to talk to you about the crumbs that you get with the oil pastels. It's good if you knock those off. You don't want those to be on top of your surface, especially when you get ready to go in and put your black paint on top. So, for example, here I've got a chunk. You can lightly kind of brush it off to the side, or another thing that you can do is just take it and kind of tap it like that. Now mind you, you don't want to rub it into the surface of the table you're working on. That wouldn't be good. But you can kind of see how, that's kind of cleaned up now. I've got this area over here to do. I think I'm going to continue with the purples I've been using. And we'll be just about ready for the black paint. And just like that, we've got that area color. Remember the white areas that I have put white pastel down on that. That way we can scratch away and we'll actually see areas of white. So now we're going to go in with just black acrylic paint, and we're going to paint over everything. And I am using my blue handle brush that was given to you in your kit. I'm using the cap to put my paint in. You have your little cups of paint that I have in your kits. And I did put this down on top of newspaper. That way I don't have to worry about the surface of my table where I'm working getting messed up. Remember, with acrylic paint, it does not like to come out of things. So you want to be careful as you are working on this and not getting it on your clothes. And if you do, treat it with water real quick. And I can still see some of the color coming through. I can see where some of the color is, and that's perfectly fine. And now that I've got things coated, the one thing I do want to do is I want to make sure that I put my my brush in water. That way it doesn't mess it up. We don't want that paint to dry in the brush. Now the next thing we got to do is we can let this dry on its own. We can just let it dry on its own, or if you have a hairdryer, you can go in and start drying it. Won't take long with the hairdryer. Just got it on a low setting, not really hot. And you can see his areas dry. They won't be shiny anymore, they'll be dull. And the black paint I used on this was a NASCO bulk acrylic. I've used craft paint like the apple barrel, folk paints and stuff. You don't want a heavy body paint. You want it kind of more liquidy. So now I can still see where my design is. I can see where colors are. But I'm ready to start scratching to make my colors and my design show up. We're going to be using a wooden stylus to actually scratch into our design that we've covered with the black paint. But before you do that, I want you to think about a variety of types of lines you could scratch into your design, because we don't want to scratch whole areas away, but you can do things with, series maybe of vertical lines. And remember, like with hatching, the closer together they are, the more interesting it can be. You could even do cross hatching, where you have lines overlapping in different directions, and the closer they are, the more of the color that will be exposed. You could do series of, curved lines. You could do scumbling or squiggles, like you see here for areas. You might even do some swirls just before you go in, because once we start scratching, we can't take away. That we can't go back and add the black. That's the one thing to think about. So just do a few marks on a piece of paper with pencil to give you an idea of a variety of some of the things you might want to do when you start scratching on your scratch art here. Okay? So now I'm going to put the pencil down, and I've got our wooden stylus that you had. I can see where some of my lines and my colors are, so I'm going to go in and I'm going to just start doing some circles here. But I'm not just going to do just circles by themselves. I'm going to do some curved lines in there to add to the area. And when you get to, where that Sharpie was, notice you'll get that black. You're not going to get that color anymore. But that contrast between the black and those nice colors that you've put underneath there is a really nice addition to this. It really makes things pop. And I think I'm gonna just go back and overlap some of these and make other things overlap, kind of like that. I'll clean off the tip of my wooden stylus, and I'm going to go in here and do a series of dashes going down through here to make that red orange really pop out. And once again, when I get down here to where I'm on the Sharpie, I don't get that anymore. It kind of stops. But remember, I had it down here as well, so I'm going to continue that type of line down here in this lower part. Okay. I'm going to go this way. With the blue. Then I'm going to kind of tap like I did before, get some of that black paint off of there. Then I'm going to go back down here. I had the white areas. Doing some squiggly kind of things, that kind of scumbling stuff I was talking about. And remember, the type of marks that you create will create movement within your design. So, you know, kind of think of the direction you're scratching things. Because if you're just going in any different direction and you're not really paying attention to the areas and what you've done, it can kind of take away from your design a little bit. So this came back this way a little bit. That's the thing, I'm trying to remember where exactly things were, but I'm just about to get it there. And with this project, you could come up with your own designs. All it takes is Sharpies and oil pastels. For the workshop, you've started out with a design I laid out for you, but you could choose to do your own. Kind of needs to be on heavy paper though. That's the one thing. You wouldn't want to try to do this on copy paper. That might be a little hard to do. And just like that, you have your stained glass scratch art.